The college football rankings, they have, well, the playoffs, not the rankings, the playoffs has been revealed. And overall, the top four, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I believe they got it right. I think they nailed it. I think for the most part, they got it right. But there's some teams pretty irritated right now considering who got in, one of the teams that got in, and how one of those teams getting in actually had help last night from a coach they ended up firing. I'll dive into that in just a second. Welcome to the channel. Happy Sunday afternoon to you. I would have broke this news a little sooner, but I was at church. And so as soon as I could make the video, I made the video. So if you love talking college football, I hope you will subscribe and pass this along to all your friends. I'm close to 9,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, remember it's free. Hope you'll pass it along. Next up, I am simulcasting on my other channel. It's a channel I started right at the beginning of the football season called Another College Football Podcast. The link is below this video. Also, if you want to join on a monthly basis, there's a join button below. A ton of people are starting to join. It's crazy. Made it very affordable. And then last but not least, this past Wednesday, Section 103 dropped their Clemson collection, and I'm excited to tell you about it. Check this out. Everything from designs that focus on Clemson's traditions, like Howard's Rock, two right turns, the cadence. It's awesome. They have hats. They have clothing for men, women, and the babies. Yes, the children. I said babies, but it's actually the children. I'm going to tell you, it's super comfy clothes. So go check them out. The link is below the video in the description. Section 103, and use the one-time use promo code Tigers10 below, and if you make a purchase. So let them know that you heard about them from me. I'm telling you, I really love the hats that they sent over and the two polos. I'm serious. It was like they tailored it just for me, and they didn't. So that was just right out of the pack. So go check them out. All right, let's talk about the college football playoff. Let's ask this question. Why, if I have a Clemson channel, why would I talk about this on the Clemson channel? Well, against what a lot of people think in the Clemson community, you'd be shocked. Some of you would be like, no one thinks like that. You need to go read comment sections. You need to read my comment section. You need to go read the forums. You need to talk to some Clemson fans who go, listen, I don't care what other teams are doing. And then they're shocked when so-and-so ends up in the college football playoff. Well, that's because you don't have to be an expert on other teams, but what happens in college football actually affects, wait for it, Clemson. So that's why I'm talking about this not only on my Another College Football podcast, I'm talking about on my Clemson show. And look no further than what happened in the ACC last night. Yeah, we had a barn burner between Virginia and Duke. You know, Duke, 7-5. Yeah, they beat Clemson by 1 point in Death Valley. Good for them. They did it. And yes, they survived all those other teams, SMU, Louisville, Miami, Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech. And they were one of two teams to represent the ACC last night. It was terrible. Oh, it's so the ACC looks just like a joke, man. Looks like you want a good joke? Start talking about the ACC. And the thing was that if Duke won, they would not go to the college football playoff. They're 7-5. Remember after they beat Clemson? After they beat Clemson in Death Valley by 1 point? They turned around and lost to UConn the very next week. By the way, UConn's coach, Jim Mora, he left. He's going to Colorado State. In fact, he's, that was a done deal like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Or a week ago. Not 2 or 3 weeks ago, a week ago. A while ago. Is that something I'm trying to say, or is it some type of exotic animal? A while ago. But they end up in the ACC championship. And this messed up a lot. If Virginia won last night, they didn't. They would have been in the college football playoff. But Duke won. The 7-5 football team. Oh, they're going to have the ACC banner. And they're paying their quarterback $4 million a year, something like that. They got him out of Tulane. And Darian Mensah, hey, he's done a really good job. But they're not going to the college football playoff. No, Manny Diaz, who used to be the head coach at Miami. Right now, Miami fans absolutely love this guy. Even though they love this guy, even though they ended up firing him when he was at Miami. Why? Because when Duke won last night, Miami got to slide right into the college football playoff. Not making that up. In fact, outside of the top 4, there's some teams that was obvious that got in. I'm going to go over the bracket in just a second. Just a second. The top 4, I think, is solid. Indiana, I can talk about Indiana for days. I'm fanboying over Indiana. You know why? Because Kirk Cignetti has proven that while NIL and the transfer portal and all this stuff is going on and all these coaches are walking up to their podiums and they're talking trash to their donors saying, I need you to give more. And they have more excuses than a 13-year-old who snuck out of the house and got caught smoking behind a church somewhere of why they can't win. Kirk Cignetti, all he does, all I do is win. And I probably got a copyright strike for saying that. Just singing that little bit. Probably owe someone a lot of money. And I saw Kirk Cignetti does at a school that I believe is second in losses all time in FBS. A little Southern slang for you. There ain't no excuses for Kirk Cignetti. He just produces. Google him. So them getting in as the number 1 seed, I get that. Georgia throttling Alabama. That was embarrassing. If you're a Tide fan, you should be irritated. Georgia throttled them. Texas Tech, they throttled BYU. They're in. They have a bye. Ohio State, they're in last night. After last night, that was their first loss of the season. You talk about a thriller. It wasn't a throttling. It was a thriller. So those are the 4 teams that get a bye. But listen to the rest of this college football playoff. In the first round, James Madison, yes, from the Sun Belt. Yes, their coach he's leaving to go take the job at UCLA. Pal, I would not do that. UCLA is a dumpster fire. But from what I understand, his team's going to let him coach in this thing. His athletic director is going to let him coach in this thing. They're going to play Oregon. So number 12 versus number 5 seed, Oregon. I'm going to skip over this next one because this next one is very controversial. Tulane. Yeah, Tulane. Their coach is leaving. He's going to Florida. Their athletic director is going to let him coach. They're going to let him coach. Guess who he's playing against? Guess who he has to coach against? Ole Miss. Pete Golding. It's going to be his first game as the head coach. So Ole Miss, they're playing Tulane. Then you have Miami and A&M. A&M just lost their first game to Texas. First loss of the season was to Texas. And that was last weekend in rivalry weekend. Well, it's a loss. No. And then you want to talk about controversial. First off, congratulations to former Clemson defensive coordinator Brent Venables. You just got your team into the college football playoff. And I want to tell you right now, I miss that energy on the sideline. That excellent defensive play calling, and I'm not taking a shot at Tom Allen. Tom Allen has inherited a mess at Clemson, South Carolina. We keep firing coordinators, and we make very few changes on the coaching staff, but that's another subject. But Oklahoma, they're in the college football playoff. Who are they playing? This could be the most controversial, even more than Miami getting in. Alabama, who got the color beat out of their jerseys by Georgia yesterday, and it's loss number 3. Well, are you going to get penalized for playing in your conference championship? No, let's pause there. I think that's a very good question to ask, but it is on a game by game, team by team basis. It's not a blanket statement. And if you lose your conference championship, how did you lose it? Alabama got throttled. I watched the SEC championship. Now, Tide fans, I know I'm going to tick you off. And I have some really good Tide viewers, and I'm not trying to tick you off. But you know me, if I tell the truth about my Clemson team, I'm going to have to tell the truth about you. You just didn't lose yesterday. Y'all were down by 14 points with 8 minutes remaining. And y'all went for it basically inside your own 20 and didn't convert. That's probably one of the worst calls I've seen in quite a while by a head coach at a major university. Now, if he's coaching up at Doo-Doo State, I expect Doo-Doo State's coach to be terrible, to make a terrible call. Kalen DeBoer knows better. Kalen DeBoer does know better, and he's not a bad coach. Alabama got massacred by Georgia, and that was loss number 3. Yes, they went to the conference championship, but how did they lose it? It's the same reason that BYU is not in. They got massacred by Texas Tech, and Alabama finished the game with -3 yards rushing, and they're in the college football playoff. I'm sorry, folks. If that were Clemson, I'd say they don't supposed to be there. Remember, I said that about Clemson last year. Oh, how many points did Clemson lose by in that college football playoff we keep hearing about last year? Oh, yeah, they lost by 2 touchdowns, and everyone in Clemson came back. Not everyone, but a lot of people in Clemson is like, well, at least we went, and you got embarrassed. Alabama should not be in the college football playoff. That's not penalizing them for playing a conference championship game. They lost by 3 touchdowns. Now, Miami head-to-head with Notre Dame. A lot of people's talking about that head-to-head matchup. I agree. The only asterisk that I placed there, did Notre Dame, who did Notre Dame lose to? Miami by 3 points and by 1 point to Texas A&M. Those were in the first 2 weeks of the season. First 2 weeks of the season. Since then, they have buzzsaw through everything. Everyone. On the other hand, if you go and you look at Miami was doing really, really. I thought that maybe they were going to turn the corner, but I was pumping the brakes on Miami. Who did Miami lose to? I mean, if we're going to sit here and talk about head to head, okay, great. Who did Miami lose to after, all of that? They lost to Louisville 24-21, and they lost to SMU 26-20. Notre Dame lost to 2 top teams. 1 top team, and then Miami's a solid football team, and they lost. Miami lost to 2 teams that did not make their conference championship. Okay. Well, the head-to-head matters, so it doesn't matter who they play. So hold on. Let's play a little game right here. So it doesn't matter the quality of the loss that Notre Dame had, but we're supposed to somehow overlook Miami's losses to who they lost to? It doesn't make sense to me. Sorry, it doesn't make sense to me. And if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, got some good Miami Hurricanes who follows my channel. I'm not hating on you. You're hating on me. Hey, listen, Cristobal could have had y'all in the past 2 years, and there was that fall apart that keeps happening. And it actually happened again this year. I just named out those losses, so don't be mad at me. You should be in the college football playoff every other year at least. Why? Because, well, you're Miami. See, I have respect for you. I just look at Notre Dame and I go, this was a tough one to call. Alabama shouldn't be there. Miami, if the ACC did not get a team in, they would have sued. And so the easiest team and the most and I'm telling you, the most obvious team to put in from the ACC would be Miami. Not Tech, who fell apart at the end of the season. Not even remotely SMU. Virginia couldn't beat Duke. Well, I beat them a few weeks ago. Okay, great. So Miami was the team that everyone wanted in. From the outside, everyone wanted to get in. And you're not going to tell Alabama no. Alabama could have lost by 60 points yesterday, and maybe that's the only way they wouldn't have made it in. Alabama looked bad yesterday. And I've watched Alabama play this entire season. Well, one of their losses was one of their wins was beating Georgia. They beat Georgia at Athens. Yeah, one of their losses was to Florida State. He got drugged that game. I mean, one of their losses was Oklahoma. Oklahoma's good. Yeah, and Oklahoma's playing this. I get that. It's just watching them get drugged yesterday, not 3 weeks ago, not 5 weeks ago, not 2 months ago. Watching them get drugged last night on the biggest stage of the season was last night for them, and they got hammered. There was poor coaching decisions left and right. It was crazy. So that is who is in right now. Quickly, I'm gonna recap this fast. So JMU, James Madison, Oregon getting together 12 versus number 5. The winner of that game will play Texas Tech. Alabama, number 9 seed versus number 8 seed Oklahoma. They'll play. Then they'll play number 1 seed Indiana. By the way, don't you dare snigger at Indiana. Don't you dare do it. Let me rephrase that. You can stupidly do whatever you want to. But Indiana beat Oregon. Indiana beat Ohio State on the biggest stage of the year. They didn't fold. You better be careful with Indiana. Kirk Cignetti wins. Just Google him. Next up, you have Tulane versus number 6 seed Ole Miss. The winner of that game plays 3rd seed Georgia. And then Miami versus Texas A&M. The winner of that game plays number 2 seed Ohio State. And that is the college football playoff lineup. I'm going to get into the comments section here. I'm going to see y'all, see who's in here. I'm quite sure that my comments have, made a few people irritated. Let me see. By the way, I'm simulcasting on both channels. I have my national channel where I talk about college football as a whole. It's called Another College Football Podcast, so that link is below this video. Go over there and check. In fact, I would tell you to leave the Clemson channel and go check it out over there. I'm 5 subscribers from 500 subscribers total. Go over there and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. Sage X, Miami deserves to be in. Noah Denton. Oh, hello, Brian. I'm headed to the other channel. My comments might be more appropriate for that audience. Noah Denton said, I like the hat on the bottom right. Man, you got to go over there and check it out. No, it's good to see you. Bama lost to 5-7 Florida State. Barely beat 5-7 Auburn. 5-7 team without a coach. Yeah. Yep. Dan May says, I hate it for Tony. Talking about Tony Elliott losing. Tim Bro, a couple of times to absolutely rush the punter, and they didn't. I will never understand Clemson coaching. I'm trying to remember what you're talking about. Are you talking about Duke last night, Tim? Maybe you are. Eric, what bowl game do you think Clemson will play in? We'll know that here in just a few. In fact, I'm going to look it up as we're speaking to see if they have received an invitation. We will see here in just a second. And you have to remember with Miami, or not Miami, but with Duke winning it, but they're out, but Miami is in, and Virginia played in the big game. It's just interesting. It's just really, really interesting. Anyway, the names that are being thrown around is the Fenway bowl games, like Fenway, Duke's Mayonnaise, and Sun Bowl. Like the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Holiday Bowl, Gator Bowl. You need to remember how many teams are in front of Clemson at this point. There's a ton of teams in front of Clemson right now. There was a 4 or 5 way tie for second place in the ACC, and Duke won that. And so there's a bunch of teams in front of Clemson. The Nature Boy, go Dogs. Mind of Alexander, gig 'em Aggies. Hope we remember that we have to play at noon. South Carolina was a doozy. Yep. Sup, y'all. Go Dogs. Harriet DeWitt, feeling bad for the Irish. Yeah, man. Galaxy King says, hey, logo holds weight. And let me tell you this, Galaxy Kings, you're 100% right. I'm surprised that they passed on Notre Dame because we know how, and I don't have any ill feelings towards Notre Dame, but we know how Notre Dame has received special treatment for eons. It's interesting. The problem is the ACC rules. Miami should have played Virginia for ACC championship, and both Miami and Notre Dame should have been in, which I wanted because I was hoping for a rematch. Good to see you, 904 Hurricane. You know, I like that. I like that. I think it was also a bad look for the ACC to have Duke in there. I think it was a terrible look. Terrible look. And you know how much pushback I've received from Duke fans? Zero. Why? Because there's barely any Duke fans. They're all focused on basketball season. Who Notre Dame beat? That was rank. Let me see. Right off the top of my head, they beat Southern Cal. They beat Navy. That's not too bad. And then we have to turn around and ask ourselves, and who did Miami lose to? Miami lost to 2 teams that ended up being unranked. Indiana looked good, but neither Ohio State nor Indiana had a powerful schedule. I get it. I get that perception. I'm telling you, dude, Indiana's something. Going on down. Favorite sports talker, love how honest he is, and that's what Clemson fans needs. I appreciate that, Eric. All right, so tell me where did they miss? I mean, you got to think Tulane and the Sun Belt champion James Madison is in, and don't quote the rules to me. I understand that there was rules that made this happen, that set this up, even set up Duke in the ACC championship. I'm just not so sure we're getting the best college football playoff. Let's look at that one more time. Tulane versus Ole Miss. I wonder who wins that game. James Madison, who I have watched play a solid amount. I wonder how they're going to do against Oregon. Well, it's just about being there. So if you get slaughtered, you get emasculated, you get turned into hamburger meat. Was it worth it? I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Anyway. All right, folks, y'all drop in the comment section who should be in, who shouldn't have been in, and any changes that you would like to see made with the college football playoff. Should it be expanded? If so, by how many teams? Should teams just be thrown in no matter what conference they're in? There's more people who's probably thinking that the SEC should have got a few more teams in, especially when you look at the quality of teams that were put ahead of certain SEC schools. I mean, you could definitely look at BYU, who, yes, got throttled yesterday. Alabama proves that doesn't matter. Okay, I get it. I get it. BYU would be a better matchup versus whoever they're playing than Tulane, or especially James Madison. So if you're a fan of those schools, you're going to take up for them until you're blue in the face. I mean, you'll pass out cold. You'll lose. If you're riding down the road listening to this, you'll hear me say that, and you'll get so worked out, you'll pass out cold and run and, flip the car off into a ditch, hit a telephone pole, car blows up while you're still mad at me. Sorry. James Madison does not look like a team that should be in the college football playoff. And if they get turned into hamburger meat, trust me, it's more embarrassing to go into a game that you shouldn't be in and get embarrassed, proving that you shouldn't be there, especially with your coach leaving. We will see. I'm going to have a video. I'm going to talk about Kirk Cignetti and all my people on my Clemson channel. I want you to go check out my other channel, another college football podcast. Kirk Cignetti and what he did last night and what he's done over the past 2 seasons is stabbing a flag into the ground, firmly into the ground, showing the college football world that it doesn't matter how much money you have in NIL. It doesn't matter if your school is historically good at football or not. It comes down to coaching. I have been preaching this for a very, very long time, that coaching, drum roll please. That's from National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. Drum roll please. Anyway, go watch that. The edited version if you're in front of the kids, but I'm gonna leave that there. He's making coaching staffs look bad everywhere. He's making donors who are shelling out money, unimaginable amounts of money to these schools, and then they're wasting it. He's making them all look bad. He's at Indiana. What happened last night was good for college football, but it was bad for coaches. Because there are coaches across the country that last night they watched him win and they go, well, hold on. If anyone ever calls me on my excuses and compares me to Kirk Cignetti, who's not a spring chicken either, he's 64, I think. Maybe the donors may realize, and the school could realize, that I have an incomplete coaching staff, or maybe I'm just not that good of a coach. So go check out that video. In fact, I think I'm going to do it right now. I think I'm going to create the thumbnail, and then I'm going live, and I'm going to have some fun. It's time I have some fun. All right, y'all take care of yourself. And I'm seeing a bunch of people in here. Let me see. The Heart Attack's good to see. Roger Parks going in the direction of 2-tier playoff system. Good to see you, my man. Bill Hollis, Popcorn Bowl. Yeah, get our fingers all greasy from the butter. Anyway, y'all take care of yourself and go Tigers.